We are back with another episode. Yeah, that's right. I'm cranking it out this week. Weeks, every other day. I don't know what you want to call it, but call it whatever you want. Today we have a actually pretty special episode. We have a Ride Maker's car here. No, I did not go to California to do it. Sadly, but you know what? This is the best that I can do, and might as well do the best that I can with it. So, straight away, the paint isn't actually all that bad. I mean, it's not metallic or anything, but with the way that they've painted it, it shifts in the light. The stripes aren't that amazing, but the green is incredible. It almost looks like, actually, snakeskin green on the actual Viper. It looks really, really good. It looks really nice. It's actually a pretty high quality paint job on a not very high quality model. I mean, thankfully, they took my advice, and not that I gave them any, and put plexiglass for the headlights, which looks a lot better, even though they have the shape of the headlights a little bit wrong. They still have the closed off vents, but frankly, not closing them off would be ridiculous because they're too small, and as you can tell, this has a raised ride height, but this is one of those where you can alter the ride height with these little red buttons here, so you can have it like it's about to accelerate, like, or you can have it like a drag car, like this, or like that. So, what do I think of this model? I really like the color, but whatever they used to make the model out of, it's, I mean, it looks like it'll easily scratch. And I mean, just by me mashing my thumb into the paint with my longer than what it should be fingernails, whatever they used to make it is interesting, to say the least. It's a weird mix between, it's a sort of plastic, but I don't know what kind of plastic it is. I can say with confidence it's a fairly low quality plastic. It's not very, what was it? It's like, okay, I'll give you an example. Here we go. Oh dear. It's about the same sort of plastic that they use for these lightsabers that I believe are made in China. Let me find it here. Yes, these Premier Glow lightsabers made in Shenzhen, China. I can't believe I got that right, but it's the same sort of plastic that the plastic they make this out of. It's similar to that. And it's really, I mean, to be fair, quite a lot of these broke when we were getting it because of the terrible shipping, terrible handling that they were getting during shipping. But these are actually really prone to crack. Well, they're easily prone to cracking. I mean, even if I were to grip this hard enough, I could probably crack it under my own strength, which is saying something, because I actually don't have a lot of strength in my hands, but you can hear that plastic starting to crack, and that's just me starting to squeeze it really badly. And you can see there's a little bit of a seam here. Hard to see from there, but a little bit of a seam. And it's that same sort of easily crackable plastic that this seems to be made out of. And it's really odd because this has a sort of chrome, I want to say a sort of chrome finish on it. So it doesn't feel as weak, but that's probably because the paint is saving it. So let's just take the lightsaber over there. I may do a review on that later. In fact, they actually hold up pretty well to me flinging it around pretty crazily. But anyway, and yeah, so it's made of that same sort of weird, low quality, cheap plastic on the body, and it's quite odd, to be honest, because the car looks good, but then you go, and it feels hollow. I mean, it is hollow, but it feels like it'll crack pretty easily, and the front end suggests that that's true, and I think that is simply because of quality control and a few other factors, but that does not give me a lot of confidence at all. Now, of course, if you try hard enough, you can take the body off, like so. You put that here. That is the chassis, and you see this here. That is what causes the ride height to raise. It's those little, I mean, it's a bit more complicated than that, but those little metal things there is what makes it pop up. That button is what causes it. But yeah, so that's the chassis thing. Now this is actually made of a, it's not a low quality plastic, it's about like a mid-range. It's not anything amazing, but the body, it just looks so flimsy. I mean, even from the underside, it looks like a mold for something, and which ironically it might be. Now, the plexiglass that they use, well, I'm calling it plexiglass because that's what I think it is. But let's take the spoiler off here. They're not hard to take off, I'm just trying not to break it. But the plexiglass that they use here is actually really nice. I actually like the tint on it. It gives it a pretty nice darkened look to it. It almost looks slightly red, but it's not. Sorry, just noticed something funny. Kind of blocks out the brightness of that clock I have behind me, which you guys cannot see. But I mean, even the tail lights are plexiglass. They're not like stick-ons or anything, so that's advantage or a plus point. Now, one thing I have to, no matter what, I have to mark down the model for this. They have put exhaust on the rear of the car when everyone knows the Viper has side exhaust, and that's it. The only Viper to have exhaust exiting from the rear was the Gen 2. And that to me, because that would mean 4 exhausts, and it's not unheard of for a car to have 4 exhausts. I mean, look at the Corvette, that car's renowned for having 4 exhausts, but it's weird to, it's not just because it's a Viper, but it's weird to see it in the configuration that it's in, because it's not, 2 little small exhausts on the rear. It's 2, I want to say, slightly rectangular exhausts, and then you have the sort of triangular side exhaust. It just looks, it's weird. If you took the side exhaust away, I like the design of it. I mean, it's a bit, it's a bit square, but it looks good. But with that, it just looks ridiculous. There's too much going on there. But, then you have right there where the rear is. You see that? A little bit of cracking, a little bit of, I think, something missed in quality control possibly, but yeah, and then you have the spoiler. The spoiler is a very, very sort of, almost like rubbery type of plastic. It's not bad. It looks good. It looks brilliant, actually, when you put it on the car, and just so you can see it even more, there, but yeah, it's cool, and of course if you know this car, you can get a little chrome plastic engine thing. You stuff it right on there where the hole is, and then boom, you have a supercharged engine, and the engine's poking out of the engine bay. And I don't have it on because frankly I think it looks ridiculous. I get that for a child it may look good, but honestly to me it just looks utterly ridiculous, and it's not even a blower. Okay, it's not even a blower. I mean, genuinely, the engine sticks out of the hood. And in muscle cars and whatever, that looks cool because it's got a flat hood, but the Viper does not have a flat hood. So, it really works against it because then it ruins the sleekness of the car. Like, Dominic Toretto's Charger? Giant blower, slide a bit of the engine sticking out of it. Yeah, the Viper cannot pull off that same effect. Well, at least not a Gen 5. A Gen 3 might be able to. Yeah, paint's good. The wheels can come off, because supposedly, I think you're supposed to be able to change the wheels or whatever. That's the idea, so. Also, yeah, that little thing, because that's where the cover is, I recommend you glue that on, if you don't like the hood thing like I do. It's best to glue it on, because that's about the only thing you can do to get it to stick, and even with that, it hasn't worked for me. So, here is what the car looks like without the tire. That's the rear. Let's get the front off just so you can see the difference. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this is America, and there's a lot of pickup trucks in my area. Sorry. Anyway, so the front one is like a proper disc brake. It's circular, whereas the rear is chopped off where the circle would normally be. So the front tires, or the top, yeah, that's the rear front. They're different sizes, but if you lower it, I don't know, if you lower the car, it actually balances out really well. But yeah, so there is a size difference between the tires, but let me just get it like this. There is a bit of a size difference, and no, I mean, you can put the front tire on the rear, like so, and then make it look a bit more realistic, but as far as I can tell, you cannot, under any circumstances, put the rear tire on the front, because the sidewall is just too big. There's too much tread, so just to show you what it would look like with the smaller tires here and there. Let's take these off, and then here. Now, of course, what you could do if you really want to, you see, because that looks really good. Okay, there's a bit of gap, but that looks really good. So what you could do, get another one, steal the wheels off that, put it on there, and then boom, you have a perfect wheels front to back, and it fell off again. Yeah, so that falling off bit could be annoying. But, yeah, and of course they have more than just Viper. They have Corvette. They have Iron Man, Captain America. They have a lot of superhero themed versions of these cars, which you could get. But I'm not a big superhero geek fan myself, so I didn't fancy getting one. And did I? Okay. So overall, this model, I mean, there's no interior, so there's nothing to say on that. The paint job, really good. The stripes they're black. Nothing too amazing, surprising, incredible, and they're just stripes. That's about all they are. They're just stripes. And that fell off again. Okay. I'm tempted, you know what, why don't I just cut to me getting this done, and then, conclude after I'm done. Of course, once I stop filming, everything comes together just fine. So, yeah, but overall, I'd give it 2 out of 8. It's a fun toy, but I guess that's about it. The paint job is incredible, but everything else is. I wouldn't be surprised if this was seriously easy to break. So, we'll give it 2 out of 5. It's a really cool toy, but that's about it.